This video chart presentation is MissionIR International. MissionIR is a NASDAQ capital market stock trading our ticker BEST. Stock price has slid throughout 2012 from up around 80 cents, holding a pretty nice base here around 17, 18 cents. And after a little surge mid-month, it's pulled back down to those levels. I think this is one of those charts that's kind of at that make or break point where it's time for it to try and rise, or it's going to fall through this support and continue to make new lower lows. So because of that, I think it's one worth keeping on radar for some short-term movement. Closed the day mildly up on Friday, about 2.5%. It's a lower volume play, only 32,000 shares traded. But as with most lower volume plays, when some volume does roll into it, the stock can move very quickly. So we'll look at the indicators for any hints of potential movement. To see that the MACD is trending back towards zero, but having a difficult time popping through it. And that's part of the reason why I'm looking for some upward pressure to come, because the trend looks like it's trying to go bullish. But if it can't make the break through zero, which is a definitive signal of bullishness, I'd look for this to start trend back downward a lot harder, and I think it'd be time for it to set up and look at a longer term perspective of making some higher lows. PPO is in a similar position. ADX has worked its way down very low, very neutral reading. All three components tucked together underneath 20. There's not any real strength to a direction at this point. MFIs, 7 did pull away. As we always talk about, it's starting to make its rebound back towards 50. But with this just channeling sideways, longer term MFIs just puttering right there around 50. Average prices are just being paid. I want to see those longer term indicators trending above 50 to show that there's true bullishness in the chart. Accumulation distribution and Chaikin money flow give a little bit of a different read. They're showing some selling pressure coming into the play. Chaikin money flow is getting a little bit deeper into the red now, showing that over the last 20 periods, selling pressure has definitely outweighed buying pressure. And the long-term uptrend in the accumulation distribution is being threatened as this is starting to trend a little bit lower. CCI is down low, near negative 100. Going along with the ideas of a make or break point, it's time for us to try and move upward, because if it breaks down through negative 100, it's an indication of selling pressure. Full stow, it's a gauge of momentum. Down in oversold territory. The fact that it's in oversold territory doesn't mean that much. It can trend down below 20 for quite some time. But importantly, what it tells me is there's just no momentum in this play. But on the flip side of that coin, it does have an awful lot of room to start to gather some strength. So it's all just going along with the idea of sitting at that support level. Could be time for this chart to make a decision and break one way or the other. Tricks, like the MACD, gauge a trend, break a zero is bullish, and it's worked its way right near that point. RSIs, running right there around 50, very neutral signal. Bulls and bears, neither one can take control. So the indicators aren't giving any big hints one way or the other as to a potential break. But when indicators of trends such as the MACD and tricks are showing that it's trying to make a shift to break out of this long-term bearish pattern it's been in, that's why I say it's something worth keeping an eye on at this point. Now I would put a bottom support there at 17 cents. It kind of does just work its way up a little bit. Some there at 18, a little bit more there at 19. Closing at 19, I'd really have my eyes set on 17. It would just have to hold. A close below 17 would definitely have me concerned. The stock's going to break much lower, and as you can see, there's just not any real support in sight to try and help it out unless it wants to dip all the way down to 8 cents. But the upside on these sort of plays can be pretty substantial because there is a little bit of resistance right there at 20 and a little bit more at 21, but I see it picking up more around 25, 26. Now closing at 19 from a percentage standpoint, that's a very nice upside. As I mentioned, if this sees an increase in volume and takes on the smallest amount of buying pressure, it could surge to those levels pretty easily. I'd call that the first area of resistance. The primary area would come in up here around 36 cents. It was a strong support level for many months earlier on in the year. 200-day moving average is dynamic. It's coming down, registering 41 right now. It's going to reinforce that area in a short period of time. But a move to there could signal the overall trend shift in this chart is finding a bottom through here, making some higher highs, and potentially making some higher lows on any pullbacks, not to mention the fact that a move from 19 cents to 36 cents is almost a clean double. But we always look for charts that are sitting on support levels, that have a potentially nice upside, and that are in a position where it's time to make a move. And best right now seems to be sitting at one of those points. So it's one that I think is worth keeping an eye on to see where it goes from here forward. But as always, it's merely my interpretation of the MissionIR International chart. Thank you for watching, and trade smart.